Welcome to this video. My name is Karuna, and in this video, I will help you to learn some meditation practices, also followed by discussions with the group. So I thought that we begin by going through the stories, because I think the stories are really really remind us of like the teachings and also the examples in real life. And often the teachings can be very abstract, very philosophical. It's difficult to understand some of the technical stuff. But when a story is presented, it's easy to understand. So this book is really great. Jessica, you read that one. I think Tomer, you also read, I think. But it's a good reminder, even though we know the story sometimes, it's good to just go through them. So, who wants to read? Maybe we'll go around. If you don't want to read, that's fine. Just see how much you want to read.
Two bad bricks. After we purchased the land for our monastery in 1983, we were broke. We were in debt. There were no buildings on the land, not even a shed. Those first few weeks we slept not on beds but on old doors we had bought cheaply from the salvage yard. We raised them on bricks at each corner to lift them off the ground. There were no mattresses, of course. We were forest monks. The abbot had the best door, the flat one. My door was ribbed with a sizable hole in the center where the doorknob would have been. I joked that now I wouldn't need to get out of bed to go to the toilet. The cold truth was, however, that the wind would come up through the hole. I didn't sleep much those nights.
A bit loud, yeah?
We were poor monks, we needed buildings. We couldn't afford to employ a builder. The materials were expensive enough. So I had to learn how to build, how to prepare the foundations, lay concrete and bricks, erect the roof, put in the plumbing, the whole lot. I had been a theoretical physicist and a high school teacher in lay life, not used to working with my hands. After a few years, I became quite skilled at building, even calling my crew the BBC, Buddhist building company. But when I started, it was very difficult.
It may look easy to lay a brick, a dollop of mortar underneath, a little tap here, a little tap there. But when I began laying bricks, I tapped one corner down to make it level and then the other corner would go up. So I tapped that corner down, then the brick would move out of line. After I've nudged it back into line, the first corner would be too high again. Here, hey, try it. Being a monk, I had patience, and as much time as I needed. I made sure every single brick was perfect, no matter how long it took. Eventually, I completed my first brick wall and stood back to admire it. It was only then I noticed, oh no, I'd missed two bricks. All the other bricks were nicely in line, but these two were inclined at an angle. They looked terrible. They spoiled the whole wall. They ruined it. By then the cement mortar was too hard for the bricks to be taken out, so I asked the abbot if I could knock the wall down and start over again. Or even better, perhaps blow it up. I'd made a mess of it and I was very embarrassed. The abbot said no. The wall had to stay.
When I showed our first visitors around our fledgling monastery, I always tried to avoid taking them past my brick wall. I hated anyone seeing it. Then, one day, some 3 or 4 months after I finished it, I was walking with a visitor and he saw the wall. "That's a nice wall," he casually remarked. "Sir," I replied in surprise, Have you left your glasses in your car? Are you visually impaired? Can you see those 2 bad bricks which spoil the whole wall? What he said next changed my whole view of that wall, of myself and of many other aspects of life. He said, yes, I can see those 2 bad bricks, but I can see the 998 good bricks as well. I was stunned. For the first time in over 3 months, I could see the other bricks in the wall apart from the 2 mistakes. Above, below, to the left and to the right of the bad bricks were good bricks, perfect bricks. Moreover, the perfect bricks were many, many more than the 2 bad bricks. Before my eyes would focus exclusively on my 2 mistakes, I was blind to everything else. That was why I couldn't bear looking at that wall or having others see it. That was why I wanted to destroy it. Now that I could see the good bricks, the wall didn't look so bad after all. It was, as the visitor had said, a nice brick wall. It's still there now, 20 years later, but I've forgotten exactly where the bad bricks are. I literally cannot see those mistakes anymore.
How many people end a relationship or get divorced because all they can see in their partner are 2 bad bricks? How many of us become depressed or even contemplate suicide because all we can see in ourselves are 2 bad bricks? In truth, there are many, many more good bricks, perfect bricks, above, below, to the left and to the right of the faults. But at times, we just can't see them. Instead, every time we look, our eyes focus exclusively on the mistakes. The mistakes are all we see, they are all we think are there, and so we want to destroy them. And sometimes, sadly, we do destroy a very nice wall.
Yeah, so what do you think of this story? So the unique features in your house probably started out as mistakes. In the same way, what you might take to be mistakes in yourself, in your partner, or in life in general, can become unique features, enriching your time here, once you stop focusing on them exclusively. So maybe just spend a bit more time to just reflect on the story, like what do you think?
To me, it relates to the fact that we have to see the whole thing. I mean that every single thing doesn't make sense just on its own, and you have to see the global thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that everything makes sense in a global picture.
Mm-hmm. So looking as a whole rather than as individuals or specific ones. Mm. And then it makes sense when you look from a holistic point of view.
Yeah, at least in my opinion, when I think of something bigger, everything makes sense. But when I think maybe every mistake that I've made, if I only focus on that mistake, it's something that I think that I shouldn't have made. But when I think of it 1 year later, I think I wouldn't have done all these good things during the last year if I hadn't made this mistake in the beginning.
I like the part also where he says later on he looks at the wall but he can't see the 2 bad bricks.
Yeah.
So maybe I wouldn't be able to tell which mistakes I made later, or it wasn't so important as I thought.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because I think what we see, what we want to see, how to put this way? There is a beautiful saying in English, like the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, right? It's our own interpretation of the event or the situation for the person. So it's not what it is. In Buddhism we have a word called yatha bhuta. Yatha bhuta means as it is, seeing as it is, not what I want it to be or what others want it to see, but just the way it is. So in that example as well with the wall, that he comes from a very very conditioned state of being a physicist, and he's a high school teacher, and then he probably never worked with math or things like that, and so that was his perspective, right? That was his lens. And we all come from that kind of lens, right? We all come from particular background, particular family, particular education, culture. So we see reality from that angle, but not how it is exactly as it is.
But is it possible though? Is it possible to see things as it is?
Yeah, definitely.
So the moment you see, the moment you have your interpretation, right?
Yeah, but you can be aware of your interpretations.
Yeah.
You can become aware and notice that this is a conditioning mind that's talking about it. Not that I'm right and this is what I see is right and everything else is wrong. We can realize that and let it as it is, rather than how I want it or how others want it.
So it's more like seeing that, being aware that we interpret things.
Sure, yeah. So we're not adding or we're not subtracting. We're acknowledging that, okay, this is from my own perspective, my own culture, and my own education, upbringing, but this is what it is. This is where it is coming from. So once we have the wisdom, pragya, then it's like, imagine like this room was dark. We came at midnight or something, the lights were switched off, and what would happen if I came in? There's all sort of imaginations, right? All sort of presumptions, assumptions, like, oh, I think the book is over there, we can't see things clearly, so there's a lot of assumption going on. So in life as well, because it's not clear, then we assume things. So, but the moment the light comes in, what happens? The moment the light comes in, then we can see, okay, the book is here, the camera's over there, the mats is there, the chairs are there, the people are here, this color, that color. It's very apparent, right? The same way, like when you have that aha moments, when you have that pragya moment, wisdom moment, mindful moment, then you begin to realize, oh, that's sadness, oh, that's stress, oh, that's the conditionings, oh, that's the expectations, oh, this is what's happening, the dependent nature of things. So once you begin to understand in that way, as Alex was saying about the holistically, where things are, then it's easy to let go, right? So in the same way in life as well, like if an event happens, rather than looking at it specifically, but if we just step back and just see, okay, why that is happening, then it makes it a lot less stressful, less unhappy. Anybody else wants to reflect on the story?
At the end, when you said for the house, maybe the bad parts are the unique parts.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? The parts which they thought were wrong were actually the most unique parts of the house.
Features, was it feature?
I don't know if it means this, but if I think of maybe my brother, and maybe he has like a bad, he makes like a mistake, and maybe my mom thinks it's bad, but maybe I think it's like the best parts about him. Like when he makes mistakes, I find it really endearing.
Yeah.
Even though it's bad for her, I think it's good.
It's so relative, what's good and what's bad. It's so relative. Because, as you said, that if we look at it from that angle of that's unique and that's interesting, then it's easier to nurture that person. But if we come from that angle of this is bad, or we shouldn't be angry, anger is bad, or also other things that we have these judgments about. So the intention of practicing the Dharma is to become aware of the conditionings and not judge ourselves, not judge other people, and to see everything as good, as pure in some sense. And like sometimes we realize that, oh, maybe this is my shortcomings, or this is this is my habit, and I shouldn't be I should be ashamed or guilty of. And I think we can come out of it, and we just acknowledge that part. If we can befriend that part and change the way we look at ourselves, then that can change our life completely. Because that's the very thing that we need to probably accept or reconcile with. In psychology, they have this term of what is it called? Denial. It's unconscious.
The what?
In psychology, they have this term.
Unconscious.
It's unconscious. The shadow. Sorry.
Yeah, the shadow side.
The shadow. So the shadow. Everybody has a shadow, basically, right? Like all our repressed wants and needs, and which conditionally we thought that were socially not acknowledged. But that's who we are, If we cannot accept it, then it becomes really a day-to-day problem. Like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling that way. Feel guilty that you said that, or you thought about it, or you have to do it. So, but the way of Buddhist meditation is to just bringing that a little bit into more acceptance and to more openness. Use that as a fuel for personal freedom, and also to help others and make a difference. So changing that perspective. That's a really good way to look at it. Unfortunately, a lot of people, especially parents, they're very conditioned to do certain things. They're not even aware that they're doing that. That's why I often instruct a lot of parents to let their children be as they are, to play with them, to laugh with them, to cry with them, to just listen to their problems. A lot of usually I had some meditation clients as well whose daughters or sons will be going to the university, and they have this whole expectation about I need to get that grade, or you didn't get that grade, and you now look, they have just so much high expectations from their children, which is unhealthy in their relationships in the first place, unhealthy for their child, and they're forcing them to do things that they're not naturally inclined to. So it's really important. I mean, one day we'll all become parents or not, adults in the future. We will care for people in the future, so it's important to have that. And also, if you make a mistake, not to judge yourself based on that mistakes. Or if you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, or maybe look, I have this anger or whatever it is, or this stupidity or something like that, then just be aware of it, be mindful of that, and say that's not what it is. There's a structure, there's a common culture of how things needs to be. There's the law, obviously. So we're not denying that part, which is relatively, it's very important. You know, we come to school, we get the education that we need. I think the only concern with that is that sometimes we lose ourselves completely as adults or as, you know, as human beings, of just pleasing or just because of expectations, right? We can live our entire life based on that and then not realizing that actually I haven't lived my life, or I hold on to it because so and so said that or so and so did that. Right? A lot of the time we go back in the past and say, oh, so and so happened and that's why I didn't do that. So we find those excuses in externally that can be used. The external events can be used as experience rather than the determining factors.
I think also like the aim, it's okay to have like expectation, it's okay to have like judgments and all this, but it's just being aware that it's just an expectation. Expectation is just an expectation, and judgment is just a judgment, and seeing that it has no solid, like it's not so important, and maybe one judgment one day you have the next judgment the other day, and one expectation one day you have another expectation one day. So if you don't fulfill your expectations, you can feel it's okay, because probably these expectations were not maybe the right ones, or just being more flexible with it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remember the last week, I think, when I met you guys, I had said about like there are different levels of expectation or conditioning. So first is that we all, whether we like it or not, that we have conditionings and expectations, right? Whether you're the most happy or the least happy, no matter what degrees we are, we all have expectations. You know, we can't survive without those expectations. I can't just sit here and hoping that things will happen, right? That's not going to happen, right? And we're not definitely saying that. A lot of myth about meditation and this kind of spirituality is that, you only like hug the trees and things will solve problems, and you will be like, a divine intervention will happen, and you're going to be like blissed out and happy forever. And this is like a totally, nonsense. And practically, we know that that's not going to happen. Right? So the meditation is called cultivation or development, is because then we're working on ourselves. We believe in cause and conditions. If I do this, these things will happen. If I don't do that, that thing will not happen. Right? So there is the cause and causality into it. If you want to be a happier person, you cannot expect to be a happy person. Even Einstein said that, the same problem that created the problem cannot be solved by the same mind that created the problem. And you have to come out of that new thinking, get into a new habits and new, you cannot think in the same way. You have to think in a different way. So, so that's what we want to have. Like, okay, if I think that I'm making a difference, I understand how things work, then it's gonna prevent me from expectation. Expectation is like based on past conditionings, and especially here, conditioning is in a negative way. Right? For example, like when I was say 10 or 15 years old, I went to swim and then I drowned, for example, and it was a bad negative experience for me. So whenever I see water, then I'm like, no, I'm not even going to go to the rivers or the ocean or the beach or swimming pool. Let's see, I get scared of it. So, but that doesn't mean it's bad, right? So when I recognize that, then I have to know that that's not the reality. That's just an experience that I created in my mind of that fear. Right? So, and then slowly we need to befriend ourselves. We need to give ourselves that chance to explore those areas. And that can happen with other aspects of life, like in relationships or in studies or in jobs and in professions and things like that. Yeah, the expectation is high. It's everywhere actually. If you live in London, there is an expectation.
But I don't think you can ultimately erase it. I think you always have like some expectations.
There is good expectation and bad expectations.
Yeah. Well, you can just see if an expectation makes you suffer, then you can realize that you can be mindful that this expectation is making me suffering.
Yes.
So I can change a little bit this expectation maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's what you can do with meditation.
So like anything, like if you have high expectations, the chances of going wrong is also high as well. The chances. But if you have low expectation as well, like you're not even bothered to get up in the morning, then it's like it's too low, right? There's like you're not even living life. So you have to like raise up a little bit, get a little bit more interested, more enthusiastic, more interested in things. Go to meet people, hunt those things that you want, communicate. But if you have too much of that, which too much driven that we see, especially at Imperial like culture of like getting things very high intensity, high focus, anything else that you can't see other things in life, then it's too much, right? Anything extreme is bad. So you've got to bring that expectation to middle part. Buddhism talks about the middle way. To walk the middle way, not the extreme ways. Okay, enough discussions on that topic of what is the name of the story?
Two bad bricks, I think.
Two bad bricks, yeah. Among the 998 bricks. So looking at the 998 good bricks. So in life as well, we have to look all the other things that are working rather than things that are not working for us. Okay, let's meditate. So, if you're ready, sit comfortably, maybe lie down if you feel like, close your eyes or open slightly if you need to. And hearing the sound of the children, feeling the breeze. And again, expectation comes automatically. Like you may be sitting here, but your expectation is like, oh, I need to quiet my mind, or I need to fix that thing that I need to do. I need to send my emails, or I need to chase that thing. Or like, oh, my meditation is doing, or I'm stupid, I can't even meditate now. So all kinds of thoughts, and even the meditation becomes a problem itself. So just recognize that this expectation is not like somewhere else in the future we're talking about. Expectation is happening right now. So just take a good look into your present, to your mind, what's happening. And slowly maybe direct your attention to your breath or to the sound. It doesn't have to be just breath. It can be the sound, could be just the sensations or sound of my voice or awareness. And keep it more interested, keep it more engaged with the present. If you hear the sound of the footsteps, you just notice that this is what's happening in the moment. Something else doesn't need to happen. You see the expectation comes there. Even before you know it. Right? So just check in. Moment to moment. And whenever you have the chance, you come back to your breath, maybe just calm your nerves a little bit more, lower your expectation a bit more. Or if you have low energy, low expectation, you bring it up a little bit in the middle way. Sit comfortably or lie. Being content with the breath, being content with sitting here right now. That means exploring the present, sound, thoughts. Thoughts in the sense of like the awareness here. I'm not meaning about rumination. Rumination is a problem. Rumination, thinking about the past or the future is not healthy for the mind. It leads to anxiety, it leads to depression. So, but the present is okay. If you're thinking about the sound, it's okay. If you're thinking about the breath, it's okay. If you notice you have too high expectation of yourself from the meditation, also just lower it and bring to your mind that whatever is happening is supposed to happen. That you're feeling restless is supposed to happen. That you're feeling sleepy is supposed to happen. It's not external to your experience. So in gentle way, loving way. If the sound is going, that's what is supposed to happen. This is happening in the present moment. And it's gone. So this is how life is happening, moment to moment. So bring your awareness to the senses, the 5 senses, the hearing, the seeing if you have your eyes open, or you're sensing, feeling. Maybe right now is the sound that's more predominant because of the children. Bring your awareness to your breath, inhaling through the nostril all the way into the heart and the abdomen, and exhaling through the heart and through the nostril. So you can repeat that gentle practice whenever you need to rest. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment, let you practice, let you do this gentle meditation. Whenever expectation appears or thoughts appear, you come back to the present. Maybe a sound, maybe just a breath, or just sensations of the breathe or temperature. Come back. Don't do this. Meditation is non-doing, non-striving meditation. So start from the angle of that whatever is happening is supposed to happen. It's not a mistake, or it's not that you need to not feel sleepy or worried. So don't block those experiences. Allow it to come and go. That's the nature. So I'm going to be quiet now. Let you practice. So it's very likely the mind will wander, and it's okay, it's very natural. You don't have to stop your mind from thinking or wandering, you just bring to a natural awareness, to a natural state of how it is. Not the two bad bricks, but the 998 bricks that are maybe right. Whenever the mind get lost or feels boring or tiring, just don't worry about that. Just acknowledge this is what's happening, and that's perfectly fine. Come back to your breath again, if you need to. Come back to the sound. Hold it 3 more minutes. And maybe start to bring your awareness around your heart center and think of maybe things that are working for you, things maybe that you're not aware that are right or had been right, that are working for you. All the 998 bricks, that's done well, that's nice. And the 2 bad bricks that you think, you can take it as the special features. Maybe at the moment what's happening in terms of your study or in your life, your profession or whatever it is, that you think that it's not happening, it's not going anywhere. Take it as lessons or feedbacks. So focusing on bringing in mind maybe 1 or 2 things that maybe you feel grateful for, appreciate about in your life. And stay with that sensations in your heart and feel the heart, the warmth. And feel that adrenaline throughout the body. There is a famous quote by John Lennon that says, "Life happens when you are busy making other plans." I think it's a great quote because you may be planning a lot of things, but life happens when you are making other plans. This is maybe what's happening every moment. That you think that life is somewhere else, but it's not, it's right now. So that's a good way to bring this to a closure. So maybe just take a couple of more deep breaths and slowly preparing to stretch. Stretch your hands, stretch your legs if you feel like, opening your eyes when you're ready. And bring your hands to the prayer and thanking for this meditation today, for the group session. And thank you for attending. Cool. Any reflections from the meditation? Any questions?
I don't know if it's just my mood, but it felt easier to try to do nothing. I mean, not try anything. Trying to follow some exercise or follow my prayer.
That's a very good point, because I think there is a danger of meditation or any other practices is that it's all about doing. It's all about like, oh, you need to get that move right. It's like you need to get that right. You need to say that. Structurally, the way we construct is we have that very habit, and I'm not denying that it's important. It's very important. That it happens even with meditation. It's like you need to get your breathing right. You need to get your posture right. You need to not think about things, right? And it becomes a cause of stress itself. Right? Maybe in the short time it's okay, but long term it becomes a problem, really a big problem. So it is the natural state, and you can see with the children as well. Naturally, it's not like they're focusing on the breath, or it's not like they're focusing on, they're achieving something. Naturally, they're happy, and that's because human beings naturally our mind is naturally happy in a natural state. That when you just not force it, when you just keep the mind free as it is, then you feel a lot at ease, no? But the moment you try to do something, but you try to fix it, then it becomes a source of stress.
I agree from my experience, but how can you explain that to someone who isn't used to meditate and is in a mood of always, who has a mind always working? How do you explain that to someone else?
So for that, if someone is completely new to meditations, then you will have to just say that it's very natural the mind will wander. It's very natural that you will feel sleepy. It's very natural that you feel that you are silly sitting here. It's very natural to feel agitated. But every time you notice the mind is doing that, you just come back to maybe an object like the breath. Maybe see if you can just anchor it with your breath and stay with the breath or the sound. Because that's a good anchor, right? Because in a busy state, say for example, you just had the news about something that went wrong at home, maybe the boiler broke down, right? And then it's like you can't meditate, right? In that state, your mind is going to be, no matter how many times you tell him to breathe or, focus anything, the mind is not going to rest, right? So it has to be like very like gentle and just say it's all right, it's okay, it's okay. The mind you're busy making the plan. Don't stress about. So just giving that assurance, it's okay, it's all right. I'm not making a mistake here.
I like to meditate on that expectation. When you have the expectation that you should not think, or that you should not, or when you're trying to achieve something when you meditate. I like to meditate on this exactly. On this want or this expectation of the meditation, like seeing what it is, trying to analyze it. Why?
I think there is a danger in it as well. It's good to focus on it, but you don't want to do it too much, because that becomes the source of, again, the mind analyzing it, the mind creating its own interpretation out of it. What you want to do?
The thing is, when it's here, sometimes it can be very strong.
Okay.
It's like if it's here, and if it's very strong, what else can you do?
And I think that's exactly the same problem that we all face, is that if I'm not breathing, what else will I do, right? But the fact is that your mood is changing constantly. In this 2 seconds is one state, The next 2 seconds is going to be completely different. And then the following, and the following, and the following. So you can't go on with the expectation that, oh, actually I'm going to watch that 2 breaths.
Yeah.
So the best meditation is when you let go of the expectation, but focus on what's present, what's in the moment. So is the sound, is the breath, or is the temperature, or is the sound. So that's a little bit deeper. That comes as you progress. But in the beginning, if you're new to meditation, then the first thing is to just lower the expectation. It's alright, my mind is thinking about the future now. I need to do when I go home, and I need to do that when I go to my office. It's just watching that a little bit more to say it's fine, maybe 90% of the time is going to just think about that. And maybe that's what we need. Maybe just we don't even have time to sit back and just watch those thoughts. We're not even considering them. But this, just sitting here will give you a bit more time to just pause and say, okay, actually I'm thinking about that, and I need to get that. I need to do it. It's absolutely okay. Maybe when you're just like sitting still and you're still thinking, you will have that aha moment that, I need to do that in a different way. Maybe I need to reply tomorrow, not today. So you have this insight into it. And that's absolutely fine. But what you're aware is that you're doing that in the present moment right now.
Yeah.
Okay, any final words? Good. Alright. So let's stop here, and we'll maybe see you next week.